Hey, how's it going, everyone? Meteorologist Danielle Grant here in the 9 News Weather Center on this snowy Wednesday. Yet again, we've had about 5 out of the past 6 Wednesdays have been filled with snow, and here we go again. The snowfall certainly stacking up out at DIA, where we keep score, 38.7 inches so far for the entire season. As you can tell, January and February quite impressive, and March certainly is on the way. Officially 4.7 inches with a couple more inches stacking up this afternoon, this evening, and early tomorrow. We already have a couple of reports into the Weather Center around Fort Collins, 2.5, 2.3 in Louisville, Boulder at 2, an inch in Nederland, and out at DIA so far less than half of an inch. But all of this snowfall continuing to stack up. We'll get some more numbers into the Weather Center later this afternoon. We'll update you on, but this is our live camera out at the CSU campus. Mostly cloudy skies. The snowfall coming down. Looks like maybe a couple of folks going to and from classes all bundled up. And in Boulder, the snow flying quite a bit. Usually we get that great shot of the Flatirons. Not the case today. Across downtown Denver, visibility a little bit better. The snowfall has been fairly light this morning, but I do anticipate seeing some heavier bands of snow cruising in later this afternoon through this evening. Prime time when everyone is trying to get home from work, pick up the kids from school. You know the drill. Mother Nature not great on the timing of these storms. This morning we saw a very fierce cold front push across the state, at least eastern Colorado, dropping our temperatures significantly from where we were at yesterday. Yesterday wasn't really all that warm, but still we are slicing our numbers quite a bit. 22 degrees cooler at this hour compared to yesterday at 12:30. We're about 23 degrees cooler in Sterling and Ray and Akron, and we saw those daytime highs earlier this morning, like 4 or 5 a.m. That was the daytime high, sitting in the lower 20s, and then now these numbers will just continue to fall as the storm system pushes in. We're sitting in the teens from Fort Collins south through Greeley, through Denver. Still not quite as cold in the Springs as well as Pueblo, and then up in the mountains, yes, they are just a bit warmer than we are. We're now at 12 out at the airport. The winds kicking up quite a bit out of the north, about 18 miles per hour. Those winds making it feel a whole lot cooler. Look at that wind chill, more like 6 below. We have all kinds of advisories, watches, warnings in place statewide. So today, if you can just kind of like hang on the couch, you don't have to go anywhere. Maybe you're working from home. The best of both worlds, right? Because the roads are really going to be a mess no matter where you live here across the state. Heaviest pockets of snow coming across the flat tops, the Park, the Elkhead Mountains, through just to the north of Berthoud Pass 2 up to Rabbit Ears, where we had that winter storm warning going through about mid-morning tomorrow. Winter weather advisories in place everywhere in blue, much of the I-25 corridor shifting off to the east, I-76, I-70. And then as we look off to the far eastern plains into Kansas, winter storm warnings will continue through tomorrow afternoon just because we're anticipating some pretty heavy bands of snow out there, potentially about 4 to 8 inches stacking up, plus some gusty winds. So we'll be keeping our eyes on I-70, seeing if that shuts down at any point tonight or tomorrow. Here's a look at HD Doppler 9, kind of where the snowfall is at as we speak. Certainly it's starting to fill in out to the western slope through Grand Junction, I-70, Glenwood Springs, heading out toward the Vail Valley, and then here in the metro area, it's been fairly light, as I mentioned, but some heavier bands expected to push in later this afternoon into this evening. You can just kind of tell by the coloring contours too around Fort Collins up toward Lamar counties. That's where we're looking at a couple of the heavier spots. And then we have this Denver cyclone that's starting to produce some pretty heavy snowfall just outside of DIA, right there around I-76, Keensburg through Brighton, looking at some pretty heavy snowfall. Here in the metro area, it's been fairly light. And then around Boulder and the Hogback, you can see some slightly heavier amounts of snowfall. But this is kind of what we're in for at the moment. Off to the eastern plains, still some pretty good snow coming through Ray, Burlington, and then moving out into Nebraska and Kansas. So how much will stack up? The million-dollar question, right? What I'm sure y'all want to know. Right now, it looks like the city around 3 to 6 inches. Some higher amounts potentially up in Fort Collins and Greeley, just because we're already seeing those 2 to 3 inch reports coming through. Out to the foothills around Allens Park and Nederland, 8 to 16 inches stacking up. Further to the south toward the Palmer Divide, wouldn't be surprised if a few spots see probably 6+ inches. And right here I have localized 6 inches or more, just because if we do get some of those heavier snow bands that kind of set up shop, we could easily see 1 inch or 2 inches come through an hour. So that allows the snowfall totals to stack up pretty rapidly. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that again later this afternoon. afternoon through this evening when we're looking at the heaviest snow and kind of the trickiest traveling weather. Snow showers kind of off and on late tonight into tomorrow. An overnight low of just 3. The wind's kicking up a bit for us. A lot of folks in the single digits tonight off to the eastern plains, sub-zero up in the mountains. So bring the pets inside late tonight into tomorrow. So here we are about 2-3 o'clock. Snowfall filling in, especially up into the foothills here for the metro area. And then by about 5-6 o'clock, everyone's hopping in the car trying to get home. And that's when we're looking at some pretty heavy snowfall around the city. Further to the south toward the Palmer Divide, in and around I-70 if you're heading up into the mountains. I-70 heading off to the eastern plains. And then by about 8:30, 9 o'clock, the snowfall pretty much settling in across the entire Front Range. We're going to be looking at some pretty good snowfall stacking up. Now by about midnight, 1 a.m., the system loses a bit of its luster, so to speak, for the city. So starting to see the more lighter snow. Meanwhile, the eastern side of the state, this is when you guys are looking at the heaviest snow coming through. By about 6-7 o'clock, I anticipate the morning drive to not be nearly as bad as what I'm looking at tonight, but still a couple of light little flurries. Plus, you could be looking at some snow-packed roads out there, icy bridges, overpasses. You know the drill. By about 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow, we're already starting to see some drier air moving through, clearing skies moving through, and it's going to be, once again, a cold night as we kind of watch the storm system push out. Still around the Sangre de Cristos, the wet mountains will be looking at some steady snowfall. So daytime highs tomorrow back to the 20s, mostly cloudy skies. Again, that snowfall ending pretty early in the morning, but we could have a couple of flurries kind of lingering throughout the day. Teens and 20s up into the high country, and then look at this 7-day forecast. Once we get rid of this storm, we are, well, Friday's still on the cooler side for March, but then we're back in business with the sunshine. Temperatures a little bit more typical for this time of the year, some 50s and 60s, close to 70 next Tuesday. And then right now I have our next storm system pushing in Wednesday afternoon. It could start as rain and then potentially switch over to snow. So we'll see how it all goes. I am just hopping over to Facebook to see if you guys have any questions for me. Oh, wow. Okay. Seth, how's it going? Yes, I'm having a fantastic Wednesday. Another snowy Wednesday. Hi, Paige. Thanks for tuning in. Einar, always from Norway. We can always count on you tuning in. Dexter, hello. Happy Wednesday. Okay, you're looking for more snow here in Denver. It's on the way, my friend, later this afternoon and tonight. Chris, however, is over the snow. Well, how about the weekend? You know, it's looking better, right? Chris Gonzalez, hello. Yes, we're having a great day, bringing the snow, bringing the weather updates. We'll have weather updates throughout the rest of this afternoon too, here on Facebook, as well as all the 9 News platforms on our website, as well as YouTube. You know where to find us. Taryn asking the odds of a snow day. That's going to be interesting because theoretically most of the snow will be done by tomorrow morning. So as long as the plows are out, the buses can get through, I'd say the kiddos probably aren't going to have a snow day. But again, I don't predict those. I just predict the weather. Anthony reporting some light snowfall in Thornton. Awesome. Cool, cool. Can you say deja vu from 2 weeks ago? Yeah, seriously, Nick, it has been crazy. I think 5 out of the past 6 Wednesdays we have had snow. It's just kind of been wild. Terry, hi, good afternoon. I wish it will snow. Oh, Alex, you're looking for some snow days. Right on. Dan, yes, I mean, as you can see, the temperatures are going to be warming up quite a bit this weekend, so all the snowfall that comes through later this afternoon, tonight, should be gone pretty fast. Laura asking about accumulation at 4 or 5 today. I would say maybe an inch or 2 if you're talking about Denver. I really think the heaviest snow is going to be between probably about 6 to 11 o'clock tonight. Gina's wondering about Thursday, March 17th. That's a little far out. You're driving from Arizona. It does look like a storm is pushing in on Wednesday and Thursday. I'll have to get back to you though on exact timing of it. And you know, it's still a week away, so that timing could shift a bit, but it does look like you might encounter some winter weather if you're coming back up through I-70. How much for Longmont? Okay, I know you guys all love to see how much snowfall is stacking up. So I'll show you the snowfall reports. I'd say overall about 3 to 6 inches for the I-25 corridor, Longmont included. Again, we might see just some higher totals up toward Fort Collins because you guys saw the snow first and it really started to stick. You guys have had heavier bands up there in Fort Collins and Greeley. Here in Denver, it's just barely starting to stick on the grassy areas. The road's still looking good. I'm kind of looking at a bunch of my cameras right now here in the Weather Center, and yeah, the roads still look fine here in Denver. So maybe an inch by 5 o'clock. Oh, Alex, you want to start to garden? I know. Give it some time. Yes. Like I was saying, as far as accumulation goes after 6, between 6 and 11, 6 and midnight is when we'll have most of the accumulation happen. And again, if you're around the I-25 corridor, I would say 3 to 6 inches pretty much stacking up within that 6-hour time span. What area? Oh, Dexter wondering about the 6 inches. So that's kind of the trickier part, is where these snow bands are setting up. And if you are under a snow band, a snow squall, you can easily see the snowfall stacking up faster because you're getting an inch, 2 inches an hour. Right now it looks like, I'm gonna pull the radar back up, around I-76, Brighton. There looks to be some banding up there toward Keensburg, out at DIA. We really don't have much here in downtown, so I'm not anticipating quite as much snow. Here in the immediate city, you'll notice up in Fort Collins, through Windsor and Eden, they have a pretty good snow band coming through. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if they see some slightly higher totals up there. So, oh good, okay. How much for Estes Park? Kay is wondering. Estes Park looks around probably 10 to 12. A foot or so coming through as we look ahead toward tomorrow morning. And again, the mountains will still be looking at this snow throughout much of the day tomorrow. It won't be quite as heavy, but it's still by me a little tricky if you are traveling in that direction. Stephanie saying it's barely coming down in Thornton. I know meteorologist Chris Bianchi was calling it dandruff snow because it just is barely fluttering out there. Hi, Renna. Hope you're having a great day. Colorado Springs between 5 to 9. Ooh, that's going to be tricky. Just for the fact of the road conditions as the sun is setting, we're looking at the heaviest snowfall coming through. You have to go over the Palmer Divide. I mean, if you can push it to another day, I probably would. They're under the winter weather advisory too, so overall about 3 to 6 inches. It's just kind of the timing of your travel makes me a little nervous. Anyone else have any more questions? Kind of overall? Oh no, sorry, I'll just show you the 7-day one more time so you can kind of enjoy. Oh, click the button, Danielle. There you go. Yeah, so pretty much a storm system winding down early tomorrow morning. It's still cold for the next couple of days, but then the heat is on as we look ahead toward the weekend into early next week. And then we'll get to next Wednesday and Thursday. You know, we'll cross that bridge once it gets a little bit closer and we get through this storm. But I hope you all can stay safe if you have to be out on the roads traveling later this evening. And as always, if you have a question for me, you can shoot me a message, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. At the WX Woman. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye.